Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the man, the mythos, the legend, the flame-haired warrior, Peter the Hitman Ganley.
Hey. I'm giving myself a clap. Is that a bit vain? Is that a bit shit?
As a fuck, man.
The crowd goes mild. I'm good, man.
And you're very welcome to the show as well, Pete, because we've been trying to get this going for a long time, but life,
life gets in the way. And, you know, if that wasn't long enough trying to organise this, I'll tell you, watching you stroking that microphone with the sound off for the 20 minutes leading up to this, trying to get it working, that was extra long.
It does help in a way. Yeah, that was a struggle. I don't know what happened. We probably spent the last 45 minutes trying to run diagnostics on the Zoom application.
Do you think we're hitting that age where it's like, you know, we're laughing at older people for so long going, you know, you're shit with technology. And, you know, we're slowly getting into that sphere now where it's, you know, we're becoming our parents.
Just doddering over technology. Yeah, I actually, to be honest with you, that thought did cross my mind before I'd even managed to invite you into the chat room. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah, and I hate to admit it, but, you know, maybe this Christmas we'll be getting leather phone cases and... and I hate to admit it, but, you know, maybe this Christmas we'll be getting leather phone cases and, we'll be sharing the latest racist memes on Facebook or something.
Memeology 101.
Yeah.
I did have a leather-bound phone case a couple of years ago for my iPhone 5.
No judgment here, pardon.
But you got these lads over in Sweden now who I keep my travel card, my wallet... all my things in the phone. It's fantastic. So you walk through the gate and you blip with your phone. And now I just bought all of my travel cards on my phone. It's amazing.
Aren't you very efficient, is what you should say back. That's great.
Yeah, you got to get with the times. It's Stockholm. It's 2020.
It's shite crack, but amazing efficiency.
You don't lose anything, Peter. I've been working on this real old school Swedish character because over here, like sometimes I've met people who you're going swimming at the lake or something. You're like, is this okay to swim here? Yes, you can swim here. Hey, Peter, wow, you're a nice guy from Galway. Oh, you're from Sligo, but you live in Galway now. That's very nice.
You see, I'm listening to the accent and I'm slowly coming to the realization that it blends into like every European accent I've ever heard, and also I've come
going for gold.
I've realized that I know very little about Sweden. Do you know, we didn't really touch on it on anything growing up. It really, do you know, that's probably a testament to Sweden as well. They probably weren't cunts. Do you know? It's like
kept the head down.
Yeah, they're pottering away in the background there. Not like Germany, Belgium, you know, England. I don't know. They could have a mad past, but I'm not aware of it. And, you know, that's good enough for us as Ireland. You know, we're grand. It's grand not knowing bad things about Sweden. That means they're probably decent enough.
It's funny you say that, Peter, because when I first came here in 2003 to Stockholm, I was just like, wow, just the engineering and the technology and how everything worked so efficiently. You know,
wow.
all of the you know, even in apartments with the plumbing fittings and everything just works so nicely, and there's no cold. There's no place you go into, or I've been into, that you're cold. They've got like quadruple glazed windows with blinds built into the panes of glass. Venetian blinds job.
The blinds have blinds. Wow.
Blinds with blinds. Hey, it's a fucking double blind.
Well, this is what happens when there's, you know, maybe no colonial past and, you know, shenanigans going on. General shenanigans. Shenanigans with a capital S.
Shenanigans sounds like a dodgy nightclub in the Midlands.
It does, yeah.
All fucking shenanigans later on, man.
Shenanigans will be shut down after 3 men have been stabbed there last night. Yeah, it's a bit
and
of a...
was flashed.
Bit of a throwback to, like, something you'd see in... the likes of Kilshima or like any of these Midlands. No, well, not Midlands town, but like, sorry, mid-sized towns. Yeah, the M17. Yeah. Did you go to the M17?
I did, of course, man. I got the fucking head punched off me up there one night when I was like 14. Never went back for about 4 years.
it's called a character building exercise.
Yeah, it was. Otherwise, I probably would have been on my way to youth reach.
Yeah. I remember going there and I had to get a note from my parents to get in to say that I was 16. This is the teenage disco. And, just the legalities of that, just imagining just the bouncers watching, reading all these fucking letters from us shitheads landing on a fucking bus from Colooney. Yeah, all in the same handwriting because we got the one pal on the bus to write them for everyone, and they're like, "Yeah, go in. Sure, look, we don't have insurance for all you cunts going in here anyway, so we're on thin ice, so we might as well let you all in. Why not?"
It's the same lad who wrote the sick letters in your journal at school.
Yeah. It always kind of did go back to one or two people with the old neat handwriting. It was an X-Men like talent that was certainly used for 2 years and never used again.
So tell me this, Peter, were you often in Banada?
Banada, no, Banada had a disco as well, but I don't think we ever travelled there.
No, I never went there myself, to be honest. You'd always hear, like, in first and second year, it was like, there's a disco on Banada. You're going to Banada. I remember asking my mum once, can I please go to Banada? What the fuck are you going to Banada? What are you going to Banada for? What's down there? Only schlabs.
Schlabs.
Losers and wasters.
We went to Carrick. I can't remember what it was called. We went to Carrick. We went to some shithole, some other shithole in Leitrim, and we went to the N17. But the N17 was always a mecca for the kind of, to borrow a Hardy Bucks phrase, the kind of the skyboy mentality, because you had the bus journey up. Which was actually better crack
than the actual nightclub. the anticipation.
Yeah, because when you think about it, like, and I'm sure teenagers these days, it's the exact same thing. It's the anticipation of getting in, but also you've got your smuggled drink and your nights are backwards. So like the drunkest you will be is going in, and then by the time you're coming home, you're sober and depressed. You come back in and your parents are still watching the Late Late Show, and good times. Yeah. Good times. But in many ways, it was the likes of the N17 and all of that, which made me love the Hardy Bucks so much when it came out, because I'm like, yeah, I know that guy. I'm pretty sure that creepy character used to work on the door of the fucking N17 and the likes.
Probably were.
Yeah.
Wearing dicky bows. It's like the way the bouncers always had, like, dicky bows and shirts.
Yeah. I often wonder, some other people, when they watch the Hardy Bucks, like, obviously they get an entertainment out of it, they get some entertainment out of it, they think it's funny, but like, do they really see some of the things that people from the west of Ireland see in it, insofar as like it's almost not a comic creation, it's almost like, oh, that's Johnny. Yeah, sure, everyone knows Johnny. He's a character, he's eccentric and he's mental, and someone gave him a job as a doorman / bouncer / teacher / fucking, I don't know, golf course manager. Yeah, I just wondered, like, do they see, like, do they understand that part of it as well, or do they all just think it's a fantastic, completely fictional creation? Because although it's very, 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 very true to life in other parts.
If anything, we had to scale it back in terms of the way people talk to each other.
How so?
Well, just in terms of the language, or there would have been events that were so outlandish that if you were to try and replicate those events, people would have been like, I know exactly where that happened to me, that did. Laughing bastards. So, I mean, some of the shit that happens in, like, small towns around East Mayo and Schleagach, they're so mental you couldn't write them.
Yeah.
See these, like, WhatsApp videos going around. There's a couple, I don't know if it's an ongoing feud between these farmers, but there's, like, some lads were renting a field off someone else and they sold the field.
I saw this. Yeah, go on.
The one with there's a lad driving a John Deere tractor, and it's just two men in a boring. One of them's holding it like a pitchfork, or as they say in Ireland, a grape. And the other one's like, is he throwing rocks? And he goes, I'll fucking do it. I'll do it. He's like, go on, fucking do it. So, go on, you daft prick. Do it. And then later on, there's another video that emerged of the same lads hopping into a field to try and feed cattle. I don't know what the fuck they were doing, man, but some of the most bitterest disputes in Ireland occur over right-of-ways and whatever it is with farmers. They put their blood, sweat and tears into a certain patch of land and cultivate it. Other things kind of tend to slip past, and it's like, I don't care about the mortgage. I don't care about the kids. As long as that fucking field is looking well. And no man will take that field off me, because I fucking do them.
Didn't that shit go to like the extreme? God bless the poor man. I can't remember what county it is. Maybe it was Kerry or something, where like some farmer, it was a dispute over the land, but then your man got like, what you call that thing? It's like, it scares crows. So it's like, it goes off every like 10 minutes. It makes a shot. Or
a scarecrow.
An automatic scarecrow. It's like, call it, I don't know. I was going to say a banger, but it's not a banger. It's some shit anyways. It basically makes a bang every 15 minutes or so. But it's meant to scare away.
The lad in a wheelie bin clapping.
The lo-fi version, yeah. But it's meant to scare away birds from your field. But this guy, out of spite, just left it on like fucking 24 hours a day to deny his neighbor the ability to sleep, you know. And eventually, the feud got to such a horrible boiling point that he got into like the fucking tractor and speared him with it, like, you know.
Jesus.
You know, kill the guy, impale the guy.
What, so he reversed into him? Was it one of those bale spikes on the back of it?
I don't know. I think whatever the apparatus is at the front.
A front-loaded bale spike.
I think, yeah. So I think it was the guy that was denied the sleep. Anyways, yeah, he just lost it, and just when he eventually saw the guy, like that video that you're referring to there, where your man broke the window, he just fucking lost it and impaled the other buck. But sure, isn't it a tale as old as time itself, Marcin?
It is indeed. It's as old as Mesopotamia, that crack.
Yeah.
The Emerald Tablets. So were you from Colooney then, Pete?
Balsadare, which is right beside Colooney, so I'll forgive you that.
Because I think Stateside comes from Banada. I don't know how far away from... That'd be a good bit away, because you got Banada, then you got Tumacurry, and then... So
we're across the mountain from all that crack. So we're like by the sea. We're basically in a no man's land between all these places. But you wouldn't really have any reason to go through there now, unless you went back maybe 50 years and you were, I don't know, collecting a sack of porridge or something from the mills. It's not really a hopping epicenter of a cultural heartland. But it's I always used to say it's far enough away from Sligo there where you want to be. And sure, look, isn't it home? Isn't it home?
It's not too close to Sligo town either, like, you know what I mean?
As close as to the hardcore Sligo boys as you want to be. So we're kind of halfway there, living on a prayer. We're not townies, and we're not absolute cultures either. So
boys who smoke Bensons outside the Clarence.
Yeah, R.I.P. the Clarence.
Gone, is it?
So it turned into they were pulling out of it, I think, the week before last. Turned into a credit union or something. So
really, the whole place.
There you go. I'd like to say it's kind of like Berlin or something, where we're losing our cultural nightlife, but sure, it's been closed for ages. So we're just happy to see it and we're happy to see any construction at all. It's like we're like, credit union, grand, we'll fucking take it.
Sligo's booming.
Yeah.
My friend Gavigan used to go to Sligo IT. Apparently, Rag Week in Sligo used to get immensely out of hand. He was telling me the story about some lunatic who threw a keg off the balcony and it landed on top of the owner of the Leitrim bar, I think it was. There was a nightclub.
The Leitrim, yeah.
He threw a keg off the fucking thing that hit the man's Maserati.
Oh, shit. Yeah, the Leitrim was always a happening spot. I haven't heard much about it in a while. Maybe there's been some sort of de-escalation of nonsense with Rag Week, the same way there was in Galway. Yeah.
National Guard had to come out.
Yeah. Do you remember there was one year where people did take it a little too far, and I've always been fucking, I was going to say like pro-student, as if, it's like a political leaning here or something.
Was that when they were going to put Michael Higgins inside a big wicker man and set him on fire?
Not far off it. Outside Supermax at 2:00 in the morning.
Supermax Square, man, that was... I remember once going in there and some lad had got a load of chicken wings and I was just being a bit cheeky. I'm laughing. Like, go on, give us a bite. He went, fuck off, you get a headbutt. I was like, jeez, relax, man.
That's not very Supermax Galway. I always know, to be honest with you, man, that was one of the reasons why I fell in love with Galway when I moved here from Sligo. Don't get me wrong, I slay Sligo. I'm just having the crack. I do love Sligo. I've grown to appreciate it more the older I get as well because of the outdoor activities and whatnot.
Not gonna read.
Yeah, but Galway was a breath of fresh air as a young fella. Sligo was quite rough, man.
That's why I never went.
In my teen years. Yeah, it was fucking rough. Like, you know, there was fights all the time.
Wasn't there a chippy up the road, the chipper there, where it's just legendary for ridiculous amounts of fighting?
There was the four lights, or the four fights,
Four fights.
And then there was Abracadabra, which was Abracastabra, and both within 20 yards of each other. You'd get into a row and you get kicked out of there, and then you go at the other chipper and you get kicked out of there. But that was kind of like the base level of entertainment. And then when I came to Galway, people say Supermax, is rough and Galway. But I swear to God, it was like going into, I don't know, a Disney film or something in comparison. I remember one of the first nights I was up there and some fucking drunk cunt started singing The Fields of Athenry. And basically it was like everyone got together and they were standing on tables and it became like a fucking musical. Everyone was singing the song and it just seemed so peaceful and forward thinking. If that was in Sligo, I was thinking the first person who stood up on that table singing that song would be dragged down and they'd kick the shit out of him for being too jolly or something.
Look at that jolly bastard. He won't be jolly in 5 seconds.
Singing and your general happiness. We can't be allowing that.
In those days, there was a great undertone of spite. You know what I mean? There was like lads who were genuinely spiteful. And, a sardonic twist out of it. They were like, yeah. It's funny, I was back in Swinford there for Christmas and I looked up the alleyway and there was about 25 lads in Christmas jumpers fighting each other. And then the usual crack of girls in miniskirts going, would you leave him alone?
Clip. Trying to pull a man away in high heels and wearing a Christmas jumper. Yeah.
You could just see the fight disappearing into the darkness of the alleyway with some lad had LED lights, baubles all over his jumper, and that was the only indicator of where they were. I was like, some things never change.
Some say they're still there to this day. No, I love that. I do love the jolly combination of Christmas jumpers and mentalists that happens every December in Galway as well.
Well, that's what me and Tordoff used to. That was one thing we really wanted to convey in the Hardy books. It was how hard lads can do innocent things by day.
Yeah.
Eating ice creams and being, riding around on roller coasters and connecting with their inner child, and then the same lad at 3 a.m. could just be dancing on someone's head outside a pub.
yeah. It's like two extremes tied together with just a day-to-day boredom of country life. Yeah, it's so true. It's so true.
I think the lack of women as well. I think the lack of viable mates. If you look at this from an anthropological kind of what was it? cross-section of society and compare it to the animal kingdom.
Yeah.
If you have any lads who are a bit tasty on the dance floor, they've got the confidence to go up and do a bit of dancing. And you hear the lads there going, just watching from the wings with a pint of Bulmers in one hand. I'll put a fucking stop to him now in the second of the jacks.
Let's get into the evolutionary causes of young Scobes beating the heads of other Scobes. It's like a real shit Jordan, what's his name? Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson. Well,
yeah.
I mean, if you look at the lack of viable mates for these young gentlemen.
Hunter-gatherers, they had to evolve this violence. But no, I think you're right. I think you're right about that. Also, as well, you said there about the spite. That's so true. but it's like the older I get as well. I keep on saying the older I get, we're all fucking 60 years old and we're lounging on a beach recounting these long gone days. It's not that long gone and it still goes on, but I still see it with young lads. I really do think it's something about that age of 16 to 20 something where everything's heightened, everything, you're the paranoia
as well.
Yeah.
And the paranoia of Yeah, I think a lot of my like teenage years were spent just being paranoid. I mean, especially growing up with an English accent, it was just, oh man, you just didn't know who you were talking to.
That could have been a very tough gig.
It was. There was a couple of rough shots who were in school as well. So it was kind of, I was used to a bit of the odd scrap every now and again. But then, like when I was growing up in England, like the things you'd have as part of your, let's say you go out on a Saturday around like 10 o'clock in the morning, you go off and you go exploring like run down buildings, or you'd be looking for places to build like a hideout or something. But the kit you would always have was a good torch, a cigarette lighter, a knife, good stick, and a pocket full of stones. You meet these other lads from a couple of like streets over, and then you start throwing stones at each other and have proper fucking stone fights, which got elevated then when my old friend Lee Thomas got his hands on a catapult or like a slingshot.
A Black Widow, was it?
It was a cheap kind of one. It was for coarse fishing. I remember when we got this, it was the best thing. It was
for what fishing?
Coarse fishing. So if you were basically the idea was you put maggots or bread or corn into it, and you'd
into the slingshot.
Yeah, it had like, it was a latex kind of. It had the rubber bands and this. It had this like cup that was also part of the rubber bands, where you could put things into the cup, like about 4 or 5 stones. What I do, like I'd be like, "Oh, Lee, can I borrow your slingshot?" And I'd just be in the back garden, and there was like houses all around on the other side, so I just put some stones.
Fuck you, houses.
Like maybe like 10 o'clock at night, just fire about 5 stones, way over the roof of the other houses, and just listen out for like smashes.
Wait till you hear a little noise. Success.
A car alarm going off.
Yeah. I think those all slingshots were great crack.
The Black Widow, I still have one that I bought when there was a place called Outdoor World in Castlebar. It was a camping shop, and I remember when I went in there, I was like, "Fucking hell, man, this is like a treasure trove." And I bought the Barnet Diablo, which was a really advanced thing with weights and everything. I mean,
what was it called?
The Barnet Diablo.
My inner child is already getting excited. I'm like, that's the one I want. Diablo.
There was the Barnet Cobra. There was the Black Widow, and the Black Widow with the little armrest. But the Diablo was like, it was the bee's knees. It had these 2 weights that would come out the front and like 1 counterweight on the bottom. You'd kill someone. You know what I mean?
You could lay siege to a fucking castle with that yoke.
You could, with a pocket full of ball bearings.
Well, my God, they knew their audience anyways with names like that.
They did indeed.
Yeah.
Bad cuts. I did 3 things that I've never done before. My one of my very closest friends, Alan O'Neill. Happy birthday, Alan! If you listen to this, Alan O'Neill. I came to Sweden with him back in 2003, and he just had his 40th. So 9 of us went quad bike racing, paintballing, and then speedboat racing.
Speedboat racing? That just seems irresponsible.
Oh well, it sounds more exotic than it is. It was basically like a 1-man boat with an outboard engine on the back of it, and you had to do this slalom, so you're racing against your other people's times. That was brilliant crack. It was so good. I was just the inner Tourette's came out as I was singing while slaloming around these buoys as recklessly as possible.
There's random like guttural noises just coming out of your like reverberating.
That's so free. As Paul would have sung, Pete. I feel so alive.
Well, isn't it great that you can have this expression without killing a man? Running into battle. I presume that's the same sort of feeling and the same sort of release. Speedboat racing / paintballing, as the books used to have back in the day.
Have you ever been paintballing before, Pete?
I went once.
It just goes to show how, if you were to be invaded by I said this, I was like, imagine if you were just trying to mount a resistance against like a special ops. So that goes, special ops, we've been taken out by a bunch of special needs lads. Yeah.
My paintballing career was very short and was very under the influence at the time.
That sounds like you'd be better crack.
Yeah, it was great, but like basically, I skipped the kind of the war glory stage, and I went straight to the that scene in I think it's Apocalypse Now where the guy is like holding on to the gun, and, like looking at the sky in a great amount of distress. That was me. Didn't want to be there. I became a lover, not a fighter, very quick when I started getting shot in the fucking face. And when I was a little bit fragile.
A lad called Indy who was between a rock and I was up on this, like, they built this wooden tower with steps, and I could see him between the rock, and I had like a proper headshot on him. I was like, nah, I'm not shooting someone in the fucking head. But other lads did, and were like, oh, look at my head. And there was lads with, there was a lad, Paddy Patton, soundskin from Attle, Paddy Tree. He had like 3 welts on his back from where Alan had, like, he crept up behind and shot him 3 times in the back.
Come here. Did you have this? Like, well, obviously, I'm presuming you did as well. It's something I've realized lately. Anytime paintballing comes up, is like everyone of a certain age has that same fear that came from Biker Grove. With,
I mentioned Biker Grove. I said to Al, I was like, do you remember when, was it PJ and Duncan, aka
yeah. So Anton Deck, yeah.
Which one of them was it? All that yellow shit was coming out of his eyes.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm blind. Yeah.
I bite our Grove.
I fucking just realized lately, like, honestly, like, there's these, what do they call them? Those like ingrained memories, there's like, where were you when 9/11 happened? Where were you when, Princess Diana died to a certain extent? And then there's like, Biker Grove when PJ got shot. I had irrational fear of getting blinded by paintballs for too long after that, and I think a lot of people did too.
Yeah, if anything, like, actually, I lifted the visor up to kind of just wipe my eyes, and then Mum was like, "Wear your mask." I was like, "Shit, yeah." And then as soon as she said that, it was like, bite her Grove. I was like, oh God. So in fairness, God knows how many people have had their vision spurred by the fate of poor old PJ.
Yeah, everyone goes back to, like, it's like a Vietnam flashback. It's the Biker Grove flashback that possibly has kept a lot of people with legal 20/20 vision up to this point.
They did us a service for the place of them.
It did.
Did you what was it? Poor old what's his name? Ant McPartland. He really has gone through the mill in recent times with being caught drunk driving. I mean, you have to wonder why. I mean, obviously he's in the public eye, but you're like,
yeah,
just the amount of, some people fucking end up having too many drinks the night before, and they're like, I'm fucking them sound, man. I can go driving. And it's like, you're way over the limit, lad. It happens to shitloads of people. But
it does
make an example of him, like, he's, it's funny because I was watching some Britain's Got Talent episode about some, or part of an episode where this 10-year-old girl had sung some class songs, and Simon Cowell was like, I have to say, that was one of the best songs I've ever heard. And you could just clapping.
You might have known it by my facial expressions, which are now unreadable.
Non-existent.
Yeah, I'm now a piece of fucking Billy Ham staring at the camera. But it moved me emotionally, but my facial expression did not change whatsoever. Yeah, I'm with you.
But you see, like, what's his name? Declan Donnelly and their family, everyone's really clapping and giving it gusto, and you just see poor old aunties like this. You could, that's what you get if you're part of a famous double team, but you don't want to be there.
Gee, I'm going to look at that with new eyes. I never realised your man's name was Johnley as well, but sure, I suppose they're like, are they?
Yeah,
are they
Irish. Yeah, Dermot O'Leary as well. I think he's in Wexford.
Okay.
I think I actually did some, Wikipedia, because that's what I do. I'm very astrologic with details. I'm like, I must Wikipedia Ant Deck.
3 o'clock in the morning.
Irish they are. I'm like, the full blood Irish. Good lads.
I can sleep now.
Yes, I'll sleep easy with that information.
Yeah. No, I'm guilty of doing a bit of that myself. I know I was fascinated a while back because I remember hearing of PJ and Duncan, and part of my, like, I'd forgotten that it's Ant and Dec, and then it's like it suddenly clicked. I was watching I think it was fucking Street Fighter, the movie, Van Damme or some shit, and like Let's Get Ready to Rumble was playing in the background, and
PJ and Duncan's Let's Get Ready to Rumble. Side.
Yeah. Yeah, they were playing it in as I might be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure it was. I was quite drunk, but I'm pretty sure that there was like a prison scene, and there was a prison riot going on, and they were playing PJ and Duncan in the prison because that's the sort of badass music. A spin-off from Biker Grove in international hard-ass prison in Bangkok. That's what they'd listen to. But yeah, no, I think they got kicked off the show because they were getting too old or something, and then
getting too old to be hanging around a youth club. Remember that the guy who ran the place, man? His beard used to freak me out. He had like one of those beards that didn't have a chin. It was kind of like a mad mustache that went up around his
infinite
mustache.
Yeah. No, well, look, if Home and Away can somehow manage to get their cast in there for all time, it's a damn shame that Biker Grove didn't go to bat for our boys. But no, they did okay. A pop career, an unlikely pop career if ever there was one. Did you ever think of going into the pop world yourselves?
Well, it's like a talent contest double act that me and Owen basically got around as.
Yeah.
Me and Owen, we did 2 gigs 7 years ago in a place called Powers Bar in Kilburn, and it was brilliant crack. For the second night we played, we were a lot more hungover than the first night, so the energy levels weren't as good.
Hope they were recording it on the first night, and yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when there was enough nerves there was the complacency on the second night. It was like, we smashed it last night. It was like, what's going wrong here? There was a line we wrote where it was like, we're Eddie and Buzz. We're like Ireland's answer to Ant and Dec, Strawberries and Cream, Black and Decker. Fill your blanks in. Send your answers in on a postcard.
No more gigs after that.
No more gigs, yeah.
Yeah, but you were musical. You were in a band for ages, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, I asked Fergal Darcy to. I was like, Fergal, can you give my EP, Mark Maloney? You can find it on iTunes and Spotify. Can you give one of the tracks a shout out on Today FM?
Yeah.
I didn't hear back from him, and then I met him then after.
I'll have to get on to him.
Yeah, you have to get on to him. Tell him.
Yeah.
The Coronas were playing a gig in the Olympia, and we were with the lads from Fan Club, and then the Fan Club lads were like, "Oh, come to the Olympia. The Coronas lads are having an after party." And I said, "Fergie, fuck, you never put your songs on the radio." He's like, "Oh, I spoke to the boss man. Fuck. What can you do?" It's like, tell him to play the songs.
Yeah. Well, he's not wrong in that regard.
No, exactly.
Your hands are tied with.
Well, I have to say, for any of our international listeners,
yeah, we should probably give some context.
Yeah, we give some context. So Peter, in fairness to you and Fergal were very, very helpful and instrumental in us winning Storyland in 2009. And the love and devotion that you guys had for the Hardy Bucks was unbelievable. And we'd come down and hang out with you and go on the radio, go out then afterwards.
Yeah,
but
2 and 1.
When I remember when I went into the iRadio office, I was 26. I was looking at all you lads who were like in the early to mid 20s. And it was like some sort of Silicon Valley goalposts, and you'd get dominoes and shit delivered, and
giant beanbags
and like any cool drinks or food that would come out, you just get like a whole slab of it, and I'd be like, "Can I get some of these Moros?" And like, "I'll take 10 of them, crisps and everything."
Take the crate.
Snacks.
The crate. Yeah. No, it was very for reference. Yeah, it was in Galway. It was a new radio station I started that was broadcasting iRadio to all of the west of Ireland, and we had about. I mean, it's still going strong, and I still have a lot of love for the place and everyone that works here. But there was a glory year or 2 glory years just before the recession hit, when we were based in the studio in Galway, and as you said, it was wild. You know, we had football goals in there and basketball hoops, and I remember you calling down, and it was a lot of fun. I think I actually probably went out with you a couple of times after that. But to rewind the clock back further. And I don't think this is something that's like a lot of people might be familiar with. It's like my first interaction with Hardy Bucks didn't come from YouTube. Didn't come from, a lot of people, watch your stuff on Facebook and all that. Of course, it's well before Facebook. It came from the Bebo Flashbox, the original. And I was on to my brother earlier on because it was one of his friends, my younger brother. He'd sent me this link on Bebo. I was working for Fire Radio at the time. And he sent me this link, and it was like, I don't know if it was yourself or Chris who had set it up, but it was the original stuff that I think someone had shot just with cameras borrowed from college.
Ballyfermot,
Ballyfermot, and had sat on the footage for a while, and then was like, fuck it, we'll put it up. And this is something like that. I think it's very typical with people that are involved in like writing comedy and stuff like that. It's like you can't sometimes see how good it is yourself because you kind of look at it from a different perspective. So I have this thing: anytime I see something or come across something that I know is good, I'll just like I have to tell the person because I feel it's easier to tell someone else because they can't see it, and hopefully someone will tell me back, look out for me in that regard. But I remember seeing this and just like lightning in a bottle. I remember going, this is fucking hilarious. And I sent it to everyone I knew. And I just actually thought of something the other day and I burst out laughing at the recollection. I was so obsessed with it. I remember like, do you know there's probably a word for like, some fiend now who's at a house party who will stop the music to put on a funny video, on YouTube.
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
Oh no, not again.
Yeah. No, it'll get funny now any second, I'm telling you. Right? So like, I was like the hipster of that guy. So before YouTube, I remember at a house party, stopping the music and like fucking HDMI cable into a laptop to put on a fucking Bebo Flashbox and to like readjust the screen. Yeah, readjust the screen, probably like 240p resolution or whatever, and like to make everyone watch this. Like, guys, you have to watch this. And yeah, and it still got laughs. So I knew then I wasn't.
Watch the dog's fucking tail, will you?
Yeah. You're missing it. Shut the fuck up. But no, I knew it was funny. I just remember that reaction, and other people found it funny as well. So I just remember thinking, okay, the guys are onto something. So then I think before Storyland started, we got you on to do a live call, like as all your characters. But
you had to cut me off the air.
Do you remember this?
Yeah, it was.
Do you can tell this one. So
you're asking about something, and I said, if I had a generator stolen off of last day, and this was I remember this was my first ever anything in terms of broadcasting or live radio or anything.
And live as well. It's a scary thing if you're not used to it.
I was half terrified, but half really excited about how far I was going to push it.
Yeah.
So the line was, I can't remember what it was, but I was telling some anecdote about stuff that was going on in the house and how there was the generator got stolen. Someone stole the generator, and it was like, someone said Knackers stole the generator and shit all over the place. It was like, hello?
Yeah.
That was like 5 o'clock in the evening when people were
And you see, right, some additional context as well for people. So I was this mad like fanboy of this thing that like not many people really knew at the time. But I'd convinced, I was like, Fergal, we'll get these guys on. And I think, like, in my eagerness, I think I didn't really explain that, it's all just like a bit. Or Fergal was a little bit confused or whatever it was.
Too hard. Too nasty.
He was like, are they going to do something like are they the real Hardy Bucks characters? But yeah, I just remember, the call getting dumped halfway through, and us moving swiftly on. But like,
The first time that was a Pete.
No.
Do you want to tell the story about yourself and Mary McGill that fateful Wednesday night? Because we would do, we would, like, you'd ring us every, I think it was like 10 o'clock every Wednesday. You had some great guests in. I remember you had Scouse porn star Tanya Tate on one night as well.
She came up. My memory's there. She was on. I
bet she did.
Hey, she'd won best breasts or something. She was lovely, a lovely lady.
Actually, I wouldn't mind getting her on the podcast. It'd be quite interesting to get like a Scouse porn actress on.
Yeah, well, she was
really nice as well.
Yeah, well, I think we got on her twice. Yeah, she was a good crack. She was just after doing a tour of Ireland at the time, where she would have sex with people in the caravan, and she had sex with some like GA star at the time, and it was big stuff. I can't remember the details, but
how did I miss that one?
yeah, you were in good company, anyways. But yeah, go on. So just to fill in. Yeah, so this was I'd gone from being on air with Fergal to Mary, and at night time we could push things out extra far, and but still there is a limit. But we used to get you on regularly, and yeah, go on. You tell
because the thing is, like,
this incident.
When was that? It was like 2010. So it was like 2009, 2010. It was we were really tight, all the lads, like, sure, we had nothing else to be at, so we were all down in my mum's kitchen one night. It was like, it's 5 to 10 here, and we were watching some film on TV, just like taking the piss out of it. It was like, fuck, we have to go on the radio now. So we turned we muted the radio, and I was kind of, half of my mind was in on the crack with the film that we were just relentlessly taking the piss out of, and it was just after Brian Cowan had come out. Remember, he turned up to the Great Southern Hotel in Galway.
And he was drunk from the night before. Or he
still steaming,
groggy. Yeah,
and of course all the papers were like, "How dare he pissed the leader of the country like this?" And in fairness, he was handed a poison chalice. So Mary was. Martin, what did you think of Brian on the TV drunk? What did you think of that? And I went, "You know what he is, do you? What is he? He's a fat cunt." And then she goes, "What is he?"
Excuse me?
I said, "I tell you what he is. He's a fat cunt."
It's like telling a child, not to say something, and then you have to do it. You have to double down on it or quit, and you double down on it. Yeah, that was. Yeah,
and I remember, like, again, beep, beep, beep. And he rang me up later on and like, Martin, what happened there, Martin? So, yeah, sorry, I just got a bit caught up in the moment, Pete. We're like, man, we let you away with as much as we can let you, but you dropped the C-bomb.
Yeah. It's a big C too far.
It was the big C too far, is right. But in fairness, I was on the bill with Brian Cowan, and obviously it was just me, taking poetic license to just push the boundaries.
How did you get on the beer with Brian Cowan?
Well, I was doing a gig there a couple of years ago at the Tullamore Ploughing Championships of all places, but of course there was a fucking hurricane that blew through and absolutely destroyed everything, so no one turned up.
That actually sounds like the setup of a Hardy Books episode.
Yeah, I think about like 12 people came to the gig. It was a sellout special. It was a nice consolation prize to go on the piss with the former Prime Minister, and he was footing the pints for the place. And I was like, "Brian, can you get you a pint of whiskey?" He's like, "Oh, no, put your money away. Fucking come down to this place. This fucking disaster. No one's turned up. Fucking the whole festival it's in bits. So don't take it personally. It's just that the thing was a washout. Here,
I kind of feel sorry for him now. I'm empathizing with him. He was trying to be
he was a lovely fella,
a big sweaty shoulder to cry on. Yeah,
he was. Pulled it out. He was sound, man.
Backbreakers.
I even said, "Can you do a promotional video for me next shows in Dublin?" He was like, "I will indeed. Come down here and have a look at this lad here. He's very funny. He's a lovely lad. Yeah, having a great night. Come down to him." A lovely fella. I met his daughter once in Karma nightclub. And are you really Brian Cowan's daughter? She's like, "I am, yeah, nice girl." Would you have grown up with like Midwest radio?
Yeah, Midwest radio, and there was Midwest.
Is that inspired? You sent me a load of jingles that yourself and Mary did, using all those like royalty-free.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, and that was like
brilliant, man. It's
there was
out of this world.
yeah. So basically, like, what we used to do is, and I always used to be fascinated by the ads in particular of these stations, Midwest and Northwest. And once I got into radio, I realized there was a thing called the production music room, and now it's all online and stuff. But back then it was like hundreds of CDs, and it would have like different moods. So it'd be like, you know,
Jazz.
Caribbean and, you know, romance and like jazz chase and all this shit. But like, there's something about it when you put on the music, and it's all so cheesy, and then just like, you know, you go, oh, this is a pure sort of Midwest radio ad song or whatever. And so what we used to do is we used to just make fake ads and stuff and put them out during the show at night. Say nothing about it. Like fake bands and fake products and just like mad shit, like, you know, a crow and a rope, or like fucking acts playing in the ballroom of fucking, I don't know, whatever, in Bundoran. But we kind of get them sounding just realistic enough that, you know, you're listening for the first 10 seconds and you're thinking, oh yeah, you know, you're kind of switching off, and then, you know, then it goes somewhere weird. But yeah, that was a great thing. That was the great thing about those days in radio. It was like we'd complete freedom to do what we wanted. Because to be honest with you, man, especially when you were on the early days and stuff, fuck all people listening anyways, because it was just a new radio station at the time, and you wouldn't get away with that now, that's for sure.
Oh man, it'd be brilliant to have a radio station just push the boundaries. But there's such a complaining culture now. Like people who are actually actively seeking things to become aggrieved with. And I think
recreational outrage.
Recreational outrage. I think the only way out of it is, I mean, one of the best examples I've seen of somebody trying to complain about someone was when I was waiting for the bus in Bus Áras, the 22 to Ballina, and the bus driver had, I don't know what he did wrong anyway, but this this woman was like, "That was very rude of you. I'm going to complain to your supervisor." He just goes to this. Yeah, work away. Told off with me at the time because it was cracked up. Didn't give a shit.
Yeah, well, that's the ultimate way to disarm something like that. You know,
you just
kind of like
don't give a shit, man.
Yeah,
double down and don't care, man. It's just like everything blows over. Do you know what I mean? Like until, you know, the next thing comes. But I think,
well, if you bleed it all, if you show that you know, if you kind of if you try and backpedal sometimes, then, you know, people will want more. That's what I see happening.
You have to triple down these days. It's not even about double down. It's like but you know, there was another. Speaking of live, did you ever see the time when we had our first live appearance on the Brendan O'Connell show? Because we were already in bother with, like, Midwest radio. They just loved, like, we were on the Goldmine with Chris Carroll.
Oh shit! I just actually remembered something with Midwest radio. They had like this piece on as well, but like they had Swinford residents complaining. I think it was when you had your first show out or something, you know, that you're making a mockery of the town. Yeah, I remember they used to come to you a lot for stuff like that because it was such a novelty.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing as well, Peter, like I was on out of character as myself, you know, being very polite and charming.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, a long time listener, you know, it's always on in the kitchen here in my mum's house.
Hey.
And all that kind of
wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm a nice lad. Hey.
Lovely lad. Get the ratings up. But you can well imagine there was people like, you know what she sounds like? Fair play, he's from Swinford. I'll be watching that now. I'll be watching that.
You knew your audience. You were presenting yourself as the good boy. And that's fair enough.
But in fairness, my mum's cousin Anne Karan, fair play to her, she got on the radio and she was like, well, look, there's a lot of double meanings in it, but, you know, they're good lads and it's very funny. So this was the first round of outrage, and the second round came after we were on the Brendan O'Connell show, and my plan was to go on there. Obviously, we went on a character, but I had the lads, we were all driving Tommy Boo's Micra from Swinford to Dublin with the knowledge that we're going to be put up in hotels and given free drink, and, you know, we're going to live it up in the hotel RTE. And, you know, I had them in an absolute frenzy listening to like 1980s like glam metal rock and fucking piping music out, and he was doing like 100 miles an hour down the road. And I was like, I'm one of those lads who I can't help but just stoke up the the flames of youthful rowdy behaviour, as you know yourself, Peter. And by the time everyone was in the studio, we were like wild animals.
Wow.
So I was going to go and rip the entire set down. I walked up and I
I'm actually getting flashbacks. I can't remember the details. Go on, tell me. I remember this being controversial at the time. All right.
Because we came on, right, and I grabbed the back curtain. There was all these kind of like glass lamp kind of fixtures on the back, and I went, "Ooh, that's fancy!" And I started tugging at it. And if I hadn't have looked over at Brendan O'Connell's face, it was like he just had a look in his eyes. Please don't do this to me, please. And I went, I remember you when you're on Don't Feed the Gun, do you?
Yeah.
It was like a hero of mine growing up. I was like, fuck it.
I mean, like he used to just go on like bits in that show. He used to go on and tank on purpose on stage and comedy clubs and stuff. So it's like he should have known that it was a bit.
I think it was also the fact that we were just such unknown quantities.
Yeah.
Like even the stuff we did come out with was so outrageous that the complaints came thick and fast. Like Midwest, I remember I was back in my mum's house and woke up in bed. My mum was like, "Put the radio on, quick!" And we put there was a radio on the windowsill in my room, and I put it on, and there was this old woman. She was like, "I'm 85 years old, and when I watched those lads, and one of them was saying there was a clamper who was crucified on a cross uptown, and then he said, 'Jesus Christ, I couldn't sleep all night.'" I was like, "Oh God."
Yeah.
And then
I do remember that.
Myself and Tom were driving to Galway later on that night, that day, and the Colm Hayes show was on. There was a lad from Cavan going, "Oh, these lads know, and like I'd never seen the likes of them. They're pure disgrace. The way they carry on, it doesn't bear thinking about. You do know, John, it's a mockumentary. It's not a documentary. It's a comedy show." Well, anyway, I don't like it. And he goes, "Well, what do you like, John?" "And there's a great show there the last day. It was all about an old rescue helicopter that was going around there. And that was good. I enjoyed that. John, thank you very much for the call." And then there was one woman who came on who was like, "Well, mine, I've got daughters. My daughter loves it, and my son loves it, and she's doing journalism in UCD, and he's doing engineering in DIT, and they think it's very funny. We all like it. It's funny." So it was nice that we'd actually divided the nation.
What you needed was like some sort of a Mayo politician or something to come on and give you like the seal of approval. I remember like there's a famous interview when
the lad with gold medals.
when Willie D came to the defense of Blind Boy once on the radio years ago, and just remember it being like so nice because even though I don't think Willie O'D would have really got the Rubber Bandits, at least he could appreciate it for local lads, and the fact that it's a joke, it's comedy, it's entertainment, it's not meant to be taken on face value. But I do actually, now that you mention it, I do remember that interview, and Brendan O'Connor, like he makes guests who aren't in character. Like he makes those interviews awkward. So you throw in a couple of people in character, and then I just remember it was really badly organized.
Yeah, and also the thing is, I didn't take into consideration is the nerves hitting me. And if someone's out there and they have access to that, because someone had it up on, I think the description someone had was Hardy Books annoy a whole audience of Irish independent readers.
That was it. You could feel the air going out of the room, actually, or you could certainly imagine it, because he would cut back to the audience and there was a lot of stony faces, and you just fucking hell, man.
Yeah, it was so brilliant.
Funny, and it's so funny to be able to do those things,
Pete was in the audience. So later he pulled this one out of the bag where it was like, "And do you lads like going out much in Dublin?" And Tommy Boo goes, "High class flange and crystal." And then Pete goes, "We went to this place called the George and I met some Amazon woman. We were kissing and whatnot, and I dropped the clutch, but the handbrake was up."
It's just crickets with your average audience member.
But I was going to say, you and Chris Green, you still have the Epic News Daily channel on YouTube.
Yeah. So basically, went from radio to making
Check
stuff.
out Epic News Daily on YouTube.
Went from radio to making stuff on YouTube, and I suppose we got in after you guys, but like it was still very much the wild west stage of social media.
This is great stuff, though.
Yeah, you could get away with a lot more then as well. Like not just content-wise, but also, with copyright and stuff is a little bit more...
They were the days.
Yeah, a little bit looser back then. Now you throw up something and it's going to get taken down in a matter of minutes. But so we did a
use policy with YouTube, is there?
No, well, there is if you've the resources to go to court and defend it.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, which is not a realistic proposition, really. But yeah, so we did a commentary on a reality TV series, an Irish one called California, which is, I guess, it was the response to the Jersey Shore. The American one on MTV.
So good, man. So good. Your version was like the show itself was brilliant, but your commentary on it was even better again.
It was so much fun because, also we're dealing with going from the budget of MTV producing this reality TV series to the TV3 budget. so what you get is they'd have all these awkward pauses left in, whereas they'd have shit hot editors in MTV that would have it so flash and so fast paced. You don't really have time to dwell on the awkwardness. But TV3, they'd leave in this this second or 2 seconds at the end of scenes where people are looking at each other awkwardly, and you can feel the fucking feel just the general unpleasantness.
The star of the show was the Corminator, man.
Oh God, yeah, what a hero.
I invited him to a gig I did a year ago in the International. And, it's like a fucking tenner in. Wasn't going to break the bank. And my friend was on the door. She's like, oh, that's a tenner in. And he goes, yeah, Michael invited me. Michael. We're friends on Facebook. He knows it's Mark Maloney. Couldn't even. I ended up in a hotel with him one night. I don't know how the hell.
He had other things to be dealing with. More important things going through his head, like lifting weights and eating eggs. Jesus.
But, he sounded first. And I ended up. The first time I met him was we were in the Palace one night, and Breffney Morgan was there as well, and. He ended up, some lad fucking sucker punched him in the eye and gave him a black eye. I was on the phone to him the next day, and I was like, how are you doing after this? He's like, yeah, man, the eye looks bad, it's swollen. I wouldn't mind, I was supposed to be judging a bikini contest out in Kildare tonight. I was like, I guess you believe in the shades on. It's the only way. But he was... But
the show must go on for the Corminator. Fair play.
Show must go on. Look at my muscles.
The Palace, is that in the Tullamore?
No, on Camden Street.
Okay, right. Sorry.
There was another night I was doing some corporate video, and it didn't end up getting used in the end. But they put me up in juries in Christchurch, and then I just went on the beer with the Corminator, and I was just sharing a room with the Corminator. He was like, "Nah, I can't drive home. Not too much, so I'll be staying." I was like, "There's another bed there. I'm crashing the bed." There's one stage he was talking to me about the court case he was in. With no top on at the end of the bed, these massive muscles. Just like this with the fucking duvet. You'll go, yeah, cool, man. I was like, what the size of this land? But it was good crack.
I know, yeah. God bless you.
Your videos on them, Steve, were fucking brilliant.
Do you know what? And yeah, we basically we for anyone who's not familiar with it, we kind of used to do a commentary on it like it was, an Attenborough documentary, kind of explaining the thought process that's going on and, kind of filling in the blanks and stuff. But Cormac was just, he was in a world of his own. And I don't know. It was more endearing than anything else. And by the end,
lifting the rock, do you remember that? He just felt compelled to lift heavy shit.
Yeah.
When he went shopping, he just bought 50 eggs.
Yeah. And got really annoyed when he was questioned on his egg diet. There was just so much funny random shit like that left in that you wouldn't you wouldn't really get in a reality TV show if it came from like the pedigree of the Only Way is Essex or anything like that, which
X on the beach.
a lot of with basically I was kind of trying to look for the word. A budget is the word here. It was low budget and beautiful as a result. So yeah, it was like a B movie kind of horror experience. It was the same sort of entertainment that we got watching that. So yeah, we did a full series on that, and then
your game of mobile homes was brilliant as well. It was like,
oh Lord,
the call out videos where it's just like the
oh, I'm still there.
Sorry,
I'm still there.
What was brilliant was like it had the Game of Thrones titles, but you just have stuff like a fist coming out of Mullingar.
yeah. Well, the
that's
thing
what balaclavas on, and he's like, "I tell you, I'm going to get you, and I'm going to stab you to death." And I'm like, "Whoa, that wasn't in the script." I just check with our legal team. New man behind wearing the ski mask comes in again. He's like, "Yeah, that's all right. We can go with that."
Yeah, those videos escalated. Yeah, so once again, some context. It's just a group of men that are living in Ireland, mainly Midlands, that fight each other, but then when they're not fighting each other, they make videos about fighting each other and they upload them to the internet. And this is like before like WhatsApp and stuff as well. So they used to like throw them up on YouTube. And I was just absolutely fascinated with it. And I still am to a certain extent because, you know, you'd have extended family members getting in. You'd have your, you know, it's like cutting a promo for WWE, except, you know, you've your granddad jumping in as well. But like that as well. It wasn't like slagging them. It was more like fascinated by the whole thing.
Just
like
commentary, really. You know, it was like
because it's unlike anything else. Like it's completely bizarre. You know, like grown men like
when you
fighting
think
each
about
other,
it,
but
it has
this
a
whole
brilliant
background.
It does have the perfect ingredients for like. I mean, if you could make it in such a way where it was sanctioned and you had insurance and a budget for like decals and graphics, you know, like first up, Shady versus Mihal. It's like this grudge match started over.
Started 60 years ago. Yeah,
it's like insults were quickly hurled at one another, and now they want to settle it over a fight in the ball alley.
It really is kind of it. You know, it is Hardy Bucks-esque when you think about it. You know, it's they are the real life Hardy Bucks, taken to a different level.
Well,
but
actually,
you know, it's
the very first the very first demo that went up on Bebo. We were going to try and watch the videos that were on YouTube back in the day. So you just walk in with the camera, and Eddie and Buzz are just sitting there watching some lads fighting in an alleyway or like a disused car park somewhere. It's like. Nice girls, but we managed to get Steve Collins' Hard Man of Boxing, where it's like, how's it going? I'm Steve Collins. This is where I taught Chris Eubank a lesson he'll never forget. On with the video, and then it's just like, fine.
Oh my God.
King of the Cage! And I was like, Tom would always buy these fighting DVDs. I'm like, where the hell are they finding these from, man?
But like
Javago.
Dude, that's so fucking funny because like that, maybe that's part of the reason why I love this so much. Myself and my mate Nathan, we used to get the bus up from Sligo to go to Javago to buy like UFC 2, UFC 3. I remember like watched them as a 15-year-old and my dad came in and like they used to go on for like, you know, there was no time limits in the fights. So he'd just come in and there was just a fight where this guy is just getting punched in the dick for 10 minutes. He'd be like making, you know, trying to light the fire going, what's this shite? Two men punching each other in the sack. What the fuck is this?
But you gotta go out and do a bit of work.
Yeah, but like the thing is, like the videos itself, the early UFCs, they were terrible. But like I'd invested £10 in this fucking VHS tape, so I was going to get use out of it. I was going to make everyone watch it, and I was going to like, you know, rewatch it several times. Yeah, it was absolutely terrible. So yeah, I think maybe that's part of the reason why I loved. Who had it? Was it Tom who used to get the videos?
These mad fighting videos, which were. And then when YouTube videos took off, there was one video we used to watch all the time, and it was Street Fight on Shot Street. You've probably seen this as well, but like there's just two lads in the middle of the day duking it out like they're in a boxing ring. And then in the background, you can see our mates, Stephen and Tony Lennon, walking past. I'm like,
No way.
But they don't even notice the fight. They just keep walking. I'm like, how the hell didn't you? And there's a bit where it's like some kid saying to his dad, your man's bleeding. You know, it's funny how like those kind of situations still exist in Ireland.
Yeah.
Like, there was a recent video of two lads that fighting each other in Cork, and one lad tried to hit another lad with a hurley stick, and he caught the hurley off him. And it's just like, it's just, you know, I'm sure I don't see that kind of shit happening here in Stockholm. Do you know what I mean? It's like you'll see fights outside pubs now and again, but you'll see a few scraps in the Irish pubs. But it's just the frequency of seeing that kind of stuff in Ireland. You know, it's and in some ways, you know, like in some ways, if two lads go and have a fight or dispute, it's a lot handier to just like settle it mano a mano, and just at the end of it, right, shake hands, right, you're the winner of that, and you know, mutual respect.
Yeah, no, I get that, and I do. Yes, it's definitely less messy, and there's less spillover than settling it that way. But one thing I've noticed is
since to a duel kind of stuff.
Yeah. Since the days of where we did the Game of Mobile Homes thing, you know, you see these fights, and I mean, the guys are still fighting and these organized matches, but like, it's like they're going for like, they're thinking about the vista as well. So they're like trying to find like places to fight. That's like
backdrop.
Yeah. So there was two guys that you probably saw this video as well that like had a fight outside the newly constructed Garda station in Galway in the middle of the road.
Oh, see.
Yeah.
Like they just stopped the car and they jumped out and started like fighting each other right outside the Garda station.
The Garda station. It was almost like, you know, we need to take this to the next level. You know, they have got the Jerry Bruckheimer director almost there. That's like, guys, we need to pump this up a bit.
Lads
we need to up the
gimbal.
stakes here. Yeah, it's like it's two steps away from fighting on an active volcano or something. Like, you know, we need
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, there needs to be danger here. Yeah, the pit in Mortal Kombat. Yeah,
we have to go down to Tahiti.
Yeah. But that was up in court there actually last week. And finally, it was up in court. But they said to the judge that they had planned it, and I think they got away with a suspended sentence or something. But yeah, they actually said to the judge that, you know, it was like it might look like that they jumped out of their cars, but it was all part of the fighting was real, but the setup that was Hollywood. I just love that. I just love that the consensus. Yeah, and they're both of them were like, yeah, it's grand. You know, it's over now. You know,
it was just the razzmatazz of the show business elements.
Yeah, well, I have a good one actually. Speaking of how strange it is, I was walking down Chop Street in Galway, and I saw this Jew, and I was like, I know him from somewhere, and I was like, oh, that's the guy that fucking made. Did you ever play Doom, the video game?
Yeah.
Doom, yeah. So John Romero.
Funny enough, I was listening to the Doom 4 soundtrack today, which is just fucking mental.
Oh, it's badass, yeah.
Yeah.
But so you remember the original games? Well, he lives in Galway now, and he's a game studio over here. Yeah.
Oh man, you have to. What's his name?
John Romero. Lovely fella.
Oh man, I wouldn't mind getting him on the podcast. I did have Frank Lepaki on this podcast before, and he did the soundtrack for Command and Conquer. He was in the original. Did you play Command and Conquer much yourself?
Oh, yeah. Hell March.
Yeah, he did all those.
Yeah. It was fucking unbelievable. Yeah.
What were your best PC, or were you a PC guy, or were you
I was
console?
I think I've noticed as well something that a lot of people have a lot of shared experiences over or with. It's PC stuff. Now I started with the old Sega Mega Drive and stuff, but everyone in Ireland kind of got a
6 Italian 90,
Shinobi and the lads. But like everyone in Ireland kind of got a PC at a certain stage because it was like, this is the future. We, you know, our kids, you know, information super highway or whatever else. You know, we need to get these whiz kids on the road. So I'm like everyone in the west of Ireland seemed to get a PC in the space of about 2 or 3 years, and one person would buy a CD and it would get passed around. So I do remember like the games being fucking Command and Conquer, Age of Empires 2.
Oh, great game.
Yeah.
Age of Empires 2, did you say?
Yeah. And Team Hospital and
And Grand Theft Auto 1 as well. Better graphics for the PlayStation.
Yeah.
My cousin Shane had it. Yeah. And I remember, like, you'd see the cop's face in the corner, and it was well defined. I was like, "Wow, look at that detail! I never noticed that on the." Yeah. I remember there was a lad called Gary Brennan who was in school with, and we were talking outside mass one Saturday night, and he was like, "We were talking about different games for the PlayStation." He was like, "Have you played Grand Theft Auto yet?" I was like, "No." I was like, it's class, man. This lad's swearing and everything, and you can run people over. I was like, "What?" So I went down to Galway when I was 15 to get this. Yeah, I got the limited edition that came with Grand Theft Auto. There was like a theme tune, like a rap song that I haven't. It was like,
yeah.
Grand Theft Auto.
No. The chorus was, "Let's go for a joyride."
That's right, yeah. And it was all BMG music that supplied the soundtracks. Yeah, I got that one. I remember that and Gran Turismo, like when that came out. Oh, that was, and then Grand Theft Auto 3, when that came out on the PlayStation, it was just like a 3D world, and I was like, what kind of new devilry is this?
This is like some holodeck shit in Star Trek. I swear to fuck, now we really are living in the future. Yeah,
back at the graphics, it was like, God, that was shite, man.
Yeah, the jump from those PC games to the likes of GTA 3 was fairly mad. But those early PC days, everything was you could download everything. I mean, we used to have like games installed on the primary school computer and anywhere you could.
Did you? You were just installed. Yeah. That's brilliant, man.
Mavis speaking teaches typing, and you'd be down there like fucking shooting lads in.
See, that's the thing. If you had, it's like Tordoff as well. He grew up with it. I think he got his first computer when he was like 12 or 13. I was 24, so like, I was using other people's computers, but my first one I actually owned myself. I was 24, and like people who grow up with like, I look at my daughter, the stuff she's doing on the iPad now, and she's like using the Movie Maker, and I was like, what does she know? She's only 8, and then I'm looking at some of the stuff she's making. I'm like, wow. So I was like,
yeah,
it's like we were saying earlier on, like we're getting to the age now where we're starting to kind of fall behind. There's just so much to take into consideration.
Yeah, well, like, I think it gets to the point as well. It's like, you've all this free time to figure out all this shit. I mean, and if it wasn't for all those games and stuff, I think back in the day with PCs and stuff, I wouldn't know much about PCs. And because I knew stuff about PCs, I was able to like learn how to edit then and do all this shit. Like, so there is a connection, but it's because you've got this free time, and I think you just hit a certain point in your life where you don't have fucking all day to try and figure out how to install a fucking sound card or something.
That's what happened to me when you have kids. It's just like, I need to pay someone to do this for me, or get some students who are out to make a name for themselves.
Yeah. Oh my God, my kid will die if I don't look after them. I do not have time to figure out how to get this problem sorted.
I mean, unless
stakes are different.
Like with what you have a studio now. Like, I have a basement room which I planned on turning into a studio, just turn it into storage. So I'm like, I probably have to just get a place, rent some office space to have a green screens, that kind of thing, and just go. Yeah. Then when you go there, you get work done. Like, podcast I've done over 2 months now at the stage, so it's nice there's no better man to get back into it. And I was
that's what I had to do just with my life, because it was just taken over. So when I was trying to do everything from home, you'd be sitting in front of your computer, like eating. You'd have your breakfast, you'd have your lunch, and you'd have your dinners, like sitting in front of the PC, editing, and it's just not good for the head. So as soon as I could make things work, it's like, right, fucking rent out a proper studio. And even though that sucks in terms at the start, especially for money and stuff, it's really good for the old head, because you can actually park your work.
You park it there, because when you're trying to work from home, you're like, if I'm trying to work, I look for everything else to do. Like, the place needs a bit of vacuum cleaning done, or take the dishes out. I better just categorize all of my socks in order of color.
Then you get in front of the PC, and it's like, okay, need to do a spring cleaning on files here.
Oh yeah, it's cluttered. Maybe I should use Gemini 2 to get rid of any duplicates that might be living on the hard drive.
All the essentials.
Essentials.
I I think a lot of people experience that. Like I realized the pitfalls of working at home a long time ago. And I think a lot of people went into lockdown with kind of this optimism that I certainly didn't have, because I remember working from home for so long. So it's like, yeah, it's just going to be so much fun. We're going to hang out all the time with my partner, and it'll be lovely. And I'm like, yeah, it'll start actually eating into your brain after 2 short weeks. And I'd say a lot of relationships didn't make it through.
Israel, do you reckon there's a lot of people who they spend too much time cooked up for each other, and it's like, I've heard that story fucking 5 times already.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Just like microaggressions about, like, you finished your tea and you put the tea bag in the fucking sink. You didn't put it in the bin. Yeah.
Why don't you ever empty the fucking bin?
Yeah. It's whatever underlying things are there are certainly heightened over lockdown. It feels like I'm kind of speaking from my heart here, haven't I? It feels like I'm just doing some self-reflection here, but
I'm sure many people would agree. But but on the positive side, you got a wife out of Hottie Books. Yes,
yeah. So we survived. We survived the Hardy Bucks, and we have survived
11 years
lockdown. Yeah. So it's my fiance Hazel, and the first time, the Ballina woman. The first time I got her number was on the set of the Mitzi Turbo Cup.
And for anyone else who are wondering, if you've seen the early web episodes, your famous line of, we can down to get a Calippo, like you've been on the chats all night.
Get down to Calippo, and then the trailer goes by and it's like, 10 euros to find a man in a trailer. Savage value. Yeah.
Savage value?
I do think that crisis. Like no matter what I do in my life, like my fucking professional career or any aspect of my life now, I think that will always forever be the line that travels. I've been walking down the street in Galway and I've heard people quoting Hardy Bucks shit. It was wild.
The brilliant thing about like myself and Chris as observers of the world around us, you'd have like, I'm sure you've probably seen like Sheets of Georgia and Swinford, where they'd have the Miami surf, and you'd see the way they were using like, and all these carnivals like around Ireland, they have unlicensed spray paint images of pop celebrities. So
and action movie stars.
And the idea of like taking the name Namco's Time Crisis and just having 2 lads fighting in the back of a trailer. I was moving at the same time.
Yeah, that was brilliant. That was part of the Storyland thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. It were great days, man. I mean, it was so exciting because we were like, oh, will we get through to the next round? And then when we won it was kind of a sense of an anti-climax afterwards.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
Yeah, and then RT will or whoever. It doesn't matter what you do. Once things go up a level like that, when you have to bring in other people, you're diluting or you're making it harder to maintain whatever product was there. Not product, but whatever magic.
We were always so hypercritical of it. Like at the time, we're like, oh, it's not like the YouTube stuff. And then when you look back with distance, I mean, there's some bits in throughout like the series. I'm like, that was a bit shit. But like for most part, there was actually. I don't know how this happened, but in the first episode or the first series, when we were having the carnival episode, the King of the Town, we were trying to get there was a bit in this where I think Buzz was uptown talking, and we tried to get the sound effects of "stand clear, luggage doors operating," but someone had mistakenly put in your "what is Buzz? Baby, don't hurt me." So you can hear that in the background, I think.
No way! No.
Stand clear. Luggage doors operating. What is Buzz? What is Buzz?
Yeah, I can't even remember the context of how that remix came about in the first place. But sure, look, internets. Yeah. No, when you got your stuff, your show commissioned for the first time. By this stage, Hazel and I, who by the way had gone to Ballyfermot with Chris, that was a connection. She was down there as basically the shady Ganley equivalent. She was just like shady girl. She was dancing on stage with one of her friends, Rebecca, and anyways, so by this stage, because we're fast forwarding a couple of years here, when you actually had got the commission, wasn't it? Like it was
about a year later. Yeah, I think
maybe a year.
Everything's happened so fast for us. It was like we didn't have time to actually reflect on what was going on.
Yeah,
we were right into the deep end. Same with the live gigs. Like we didn't have a fucking clue.
You've no time for to reflect, and that's fucking it must have been scary enough as well.
Yeah, I think we lost a few fans in the first couple of gigs we did because we were just so messy. I mean, like you go up there and we had no idea about stagecraft or crafting jokes, and then you had to just wrangle all these different egos together. And it was like my character wouldn't say that. It's like, oh fuck.
Like I think I remember we did a live show. Well, your team stuff came out, but that
was brilliant crack.
That was one of your first. Yeah.
And they were doing the shots, or they were doing glasses of Buckfast for €2.
That was a great shout on the promotional front. It was myself and Fergal that went with you that night, and we were kind of doing. It was kind of like an interview setup, so we'd sit there and we'd ask you questions, and then I can't remember how the show progressed, but by the end of it, everyone was so pissed. It's just kind of turned into a bit of a Hardy Bucks rave.
Yeah, because we were doing a bit of DJing afterwards.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, it was Q&A and fucking basically teenage disco tunes. To go full circle, basically the tunes that you'd hear in the N17 nightclub or
nightclub N17 2000. Do you remember Midwest? Anything that around the millennium was like 2000.
We are living in the future.
Yeah, 20 years on, man. Actually, I was watching Ghostbusters 2 the other night, and Peter Venkman had said something about, call me up in the year 2000. And I was like, year 2000? I was like, I remember this film coming out when I was a kid. And I was like, 2000? Fucking 20 years ago, man.
Sure, like the local video store in Ballisadair was called Video 2000 because it was like, let's call it something really fucking space age.
They had 2,000 videos in there.
Yeah. You'll never get to the end of all these videos. Never in a million years.
We had a video shop in Swinford called Ganley's, and they had this arcade game called Badlands. And all the lads in school were like, come on, go down and eat some chips and play Badlands. And then he moved across the street and he had this game of Virtua Striker. And that's where lads would sell hash at the Virtua Striker machine and shoot pool in the back. Well, myself and Chris and the lads would go in and just look at the videos and just take the piss out of them, such as Troll 2, One Was Never Enough, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. And then we'd always have like a witty quip, like, yeah, that was a new nightmare at the box office. The box office of laughs. We were just fucking piss takers, man. We spent most of our time just ripping the piss out of everything. There was a lad called Paddy Reid. Paddy and Dennis, these two lads who were from Coleraine, and they were living in Mayo for a while, in Swinford. And me and Chris were coming down from lunch, going downtown to get some sweeties. And outside Galley's video, this lad Paddy was going, "Oh man, Martin, man, you can't fucking help me, man. Please help me, man." I was like, "Calm down, Paddy. What's going on, man?" I said, "I'm going to go to Coleraine, man. I can't put the fucking video back in the box." So he was trying to put the video back into the letterbox, but someone had broke the box. So it was like a figure of 8 inside the box. And I was like, "What video have you got?" Anyway, the video was called Power Zone. So up being a cheeky prick, he was like this going, Paddy. During his distress, he tried to kick him up the arse and go, "Fuck off, you wee English twat."
I want to watch Power Zone now.
Power Zone. Are you a fan of Fatal Deviation?
I am. I rewatch it about at least once a year. It's one of my favorite things to do is to introduce somebody to the movie and watch it with them.
Why don't you boys go and play in the traffic?
The bit that always gets me is, the initial fight in is it Londis or is it Central? Yeah. I think it's Londis. Kicking your man into the perfectly stacked thing of toilet paper, and then the big reveal of the baddie being Mickey from Boyzone, and
I love it when it says Mikey Graham from the rock band Boyzone.
Yeah. Trying to add a little bit of coolness to it. Yeah. I
was on the Celebrity Apprentice there years ago. I was on the fucking TV3 disaster. When I first met Mikey Graham, I was like,
"Oh, is that where is it Breffney?" Is that the fella?
No, he was on the first Apprentice that was on. So I'd ring him up for advice, and he's like, "Don't fucking listen to the Martin Dog." Actually, I do have a podcast that I did with him a couple of weeks ago, which I need to put up. But it went on for it was a proper Joe Rogan style one, where it was like 3 hours, and we just got smashed.
You're getting into fucking all sorts, all the world's problems.
Oh, hey, they were solved, man. but we were talking about the Apprentice and that kind of thing. But when I was on with Mikey Graham, I was sitting in the back of a cab with him. I was like, "Mikey, what was it like being on Fatal Deviation?" He was taken aback for a few moments. He went, "How the fuck do you know about that?" I'm like, how could you not know about it, man? It's cinematic lore from Ireland.
Every so often that blows up on the likes of Reddit. The Americans come across it and they're just blown away. I just think it's great as well. Like it kind of goes back to it has all the things of all those uniquely Irish things that we've talked about so far. It just taps into something, and it's I don't know. It's beautiful. It's a fucking car crash, yes, but it's such an enjoyable.
Oh, it's brilliant. Taffin is another one which is spellbinding. Have you seen it? The one with Pierce Brosnan. He's some sort of like hard man debt collector kind of thing, but he's cool and wears Wayfarers and V-necks and trench coats. Some town, and I don't know if it's like near Bray or something, or somewhere down like Wexford or Wicklow. Private contractors of bad boys try to take over the town, and it's by any means necessary they must get this factory going and run everyone out of the job. And there's a scene where it's just a pub during the day, and there's a stripper, and she's like pole dancing, she's naked. It's just like a whole load of lads who are just extras who are like, "Do you want to be in a film? Come on, we get £50 for the day." And there's a scene with this lap dancer, she's on the table in front of them, and there's one lad above the table. He looks all cool and composed, but you can see his right knee going fucking 90 under the table.
We've got one shot. Go on.
Yeah,
keep rolling. Keep it
in. It's realistic. It's exactly what someone would have done.
Yeah, actually, Taffin is one of the films that I know people reference it all the time. I've started watching it, but it's always sparked on from a conversation like the one we're having now, where someone mentions Taffin, or I remember it, and I'm like, we have to put it on, and it. I go off and I'll download it, and we'll start watching it, and then everyone else will quit. And I'm stuck there watching it on my own, and I've never actually got to the end of it, so I'll have to circle back on that bad boy.
Oh, what is it you want? I think her name is Alison Doody, her name is, or something. And she's the love interest. She says, well...
And he screams at her.
Yeah, he's like, "Maybe you shouldn't be living here!"
Yeah.
He's like a mean drunk, but he looks all cool with the glasses.
Just the way it's cut and everything. I think Adam and Joe, they had a podcast years ago, and they had, I think it was on BBC, one of the BBC radio stations. Oh, was it? Anyways, doesn't matter.
Great, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they used to just play that clip all the time, and it's there's something about Pierce Brosnan's delivery in that as well. It just never gets unfunny.
He lurches forward as he screams.
At what point of his career was that? Was that like that was pre-Bond? I think.
Yeah, way before Bond. Like he was. I remember seeing a film years ago where he was playing a KGB agent. He was driving around on like a motorbike. It was in the 90s. I watched it. I was like, wow, Pierce Brosnan was in that, and he only had a minor role. It was just as he was kind of breaking out.
Yeah. There was a great thing over lockdown. Well, not lockdown, but you know what I mean. Over fucking whatever you
LD.
call this. Everyone calls it lockdown, but where Pierce Brosnan rewatched GoldenEye for like the full film. Yeah, and he's just like chilling in his garden in Hawaii. In his little
nice touch,
like little relaxing little chill out area shed type thing in his garden, and he's just watching it, and every so often he'll comment on, "Oh, that's a nice suit," or that was a good line, and just like little touches like that, and it's pretty funny. It's just there's something surreal about it that's just quality.
You ever seen?
I do enjoy him.
Total Recall audio with Paul Verhoeven and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, I think I've heard clips. He gets really into it, doesn't he? Or...
Yeah, there's a bit where Sharon Stone is on top of him. He's like, "Yes, this was a good scene." He's like,
it's the honesty. Yeah, that's what I love. Yeah,
yes, I like this. It was good.
the awkwardness of it. Yeah,
And you know what's going on behind the scenes? But Paul Viola was like, me, Sharon, and Arnold went down to a hotel in Mexico, and we went over the lines of this scene in the hotel room. Yes, it was a lot of fun. And then you see like the TriStar Pegasus running towards the camera. You go, "Hi, this is me, Arnold Schwarzenegger, running towards the camera."
thank you, Arnold. Thank you for that contribution.
No deal.
There was another good one as well that I came across lately, a commentary for Armageddon.
Bruce Willis and the boys.
Bruce Willis and the boys, but they had not Matt Damon. I was going to say the other one because they always appear and stuff together. Affleck, yes,
as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was the love interest.
He was indeed.
He was with what's his name? Liz, not his name, but Liz Taylor.
Liv Tyler.
Yes, Tyler. But anyways, he's doing a commentary of it, but like he's just ripping the film the whole way through, like just absolutely slating it.
That's bad. You should watch Pearl Harbor again.
Yeah.
Apparently, when that came out, they'd had the screening for it, the press screening, and he was like sat there smugly, and he goes, "Well, what did you think?" And everyone was like, "Oh, yeah, interesting."
I like the special effects. The explosions were good, but
they were the best bit.
Yeah, that was peak Ben Affleck.
It's funny, like all these, when you were a kid, like someone would like get the Sun or something. Like in my house, we weren't getting things like the Independent or the Guardian. It was the Sun or the Mirror. Looking back, I know well what the crack was. They'd have some sort of piece about a movie where it'd be like, oh, someone died on this, or complaints were made. It was just basically any publicity to try and bring up awareness of the film before it was released.
Yeah. So, it was the clickbait of the tabloids.
It was, yeah. It was tabloid clickbait looking back.
Yeah.
But like I remember
print clickbait. Yeah.
When they were doing Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, they were like 100 animals died during the movie of The Hobbit, and I was like, what? And then it turns out
I gotta see this movie.
I have to see it.
I do love some animal death.
I'll have to pay my own money to check and see where those animals were, and I doubt it even happened at all. Or like before Lord of the Rings came out years ago, it was like they made 2,000 Hobbit feet, and I was like, they did what?
Sold.
Just clickbait, the same shit as you get on Nikki Swift. What actors are out of work now and work real jobs? Thumbnail of one of the women who was in 10 Things I Hate About You. You know that actress who had the kind of like squashed face? She had like a real round head.
I'm racking my brains for round squashed faces. Nothing is jumping out, to be honest with you.
I'll tell you who she was.
Go on.
Because it was one of the, like she was one of them like millennium actresses. Heath Ledger was in that. Jeez, tonight. I never even seen that film. Anyway, it's just one of those annoying ones that everyone was raving on about. Julia Stiles, is that her name?
Good enough.
Julia Stiles, and there was a thumbnail of it, and it was like she works in a regular job. I was like, yeah. But if I click down here,
I'll have to look her up as well. No, I wouldn't say that's a squashed round face.
That's how I remembered it.
Oh, are you sure your paper didn't get wet? It wasn't.
Could have been that.
Damaged in transit or something.
Well, it looks like she's been in a couple of, like, she was in Jason Bourne and she was in a couple of things. She's probably got kids and all that kind of crack now, and like she's probably a bit fucking jaded with the endless amount of auditions and not getting roles and all that kind of crack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just kind of lost interest in the acting game a bit, but that's only because of all the COVID stuff, and it's like, well,
yeah,
when's that coming back? So I mean, people in our game, it's I remember like my mate Alan was saying, it's going to be a great time for you to start streaming while everyone's on the lockdown. I was like, I just kind of lost interest.
You see, everyone gave that a go as well for the first while, and it was probably like, oversaturation of people streaming shit as well. I mean, comedy is one thing, but I guess DJs. I've never seen as many fucking DJ streams, and we'll have a festival and everyone will stream, and everyone's going to watch, and yeah, it doesn't really work like that. You kind of dip in and dip out. The live thing I did was or that I not participated in, but really got into for the first week was Bingo Loco, and I did that, and I was like, "Yeah, this is going to be great."
Those
and
making mad coin before lockdown.
It was grand, but I kind of I dipped out of all the kind of the live stuff or wanting to watch these live streams. The novelty wore off really quick. But,
yeah. There's no production value to like a load of lads on Zoom.
yeah, screaming and shouting.
But apparently there has been one production that I was told was very good, which has your man Michael Sheen and some other lad. I can't remember what it is.
Michael Sheen?
Yeah, it's like he was the guy who was in Frost versus Nixon.
Wow.
It's called Staged. It was a BBC One thing with David Tennant. I think the guy played Doctor Who and Michael Sheen. But if it was BBC One, I don't want to go near it.
Yeah, no, I didn't hear anything about that. And were you thinking of doing something Hardy Bucks related, streaming wise, at the start?
We could do. It's very difficult to get everyone to commit. Everyone's busy with their own lives these days, and
it would be a fun concept to revisit. Though, I mean, like, what are the characters doing under lockdown?
Yeah, so I mean, I could put it to the committee and do like a couple of videos, but there'd be questions of where is it hosted.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it could be done, but I just think I think we've all become so jaded with it at this stage.
Yeah.
It's like, I think the only thing that would fucking get us back together is a ball of coin.
Yeah.
It's amazing how people work for the balling.
Yeah, and rightly so as well, because I can only imagine. I mean, my dealings with, and we won't mention names, but just the whole general production thing. Once you go bigger and once you work with producers and things kind of get out of your hands, it becomes a lot of stress. And I can only imagine how many series did you do? I can only imagine the amount of fucking,
well, including the web series, 5 series, and
that's going to take its toll.
6 series if you consider the first 3 we did on YouTube, and we did 5 series of film. So and the thing is, it was always so staggered across the years. So like you'd be waiting 2 years. Like we haven't filmed anything for 3 years, even though like there's a lot of us who are.
That's wild.
Yeah, and you kind of think like obviously it's an international show now, and there's a lot of people who.
Yeah, because you're up on Netflix. I kind of keep forgetting that. That's a massive achievement. Fair play to you.
I was on the phone. Oh, thanks very much, PG. I was on the phone to Stateside there last night. It was like, Martin,
oh my God,
come here. My friend said that we're on TV adverts. I'm on adverts over in Las Vegas and New York. Sure, it's on TV now over in the States.
Stateside, by the way, I just remembered. Stateside used to be a guy who used to come on the show as well. We used to get him on to play various to play games and stuff. I think we're trying to like do like dating with Stateside or something call in if you want to date. But it was just whatever about you saying cunt on air, but like just the sheer skating on thin ice always that you have with Stateside.
2 videos I had to put into private mode on YouTube there. I did a live stream on Maloney's Digest, my channel on YouTube. Get the plug in there. And it was going well, and he was dropping a lot of bombs, man. I was like, it was going so well.
but as a result, we had to kind of call it quits and having him on air. But he used to send me messages then at all hours in the morning. I'm sorry, Stateside, if you're listening, but eventually I did have to ban him because it was just lying in bed and like my phone would start going crazy at 5 o'clock in the morning, and he'd be telling me about how many sandwiches he's just after eating, and like how many push-ups he'd done after he's had the sandwiches. Fascinating information.
Do you remember you sent me something he wrote on Facebook once? It was like, if you go to an airport,
yes,
look over in the distance, you'll see a man beside a building drinking a cup of coffee. looking at you. That's stateside.
It was just a sort of like a really poetic shitpost, that he'd sent me at like 6 o'clock in the morning. Really profound in its absolute ridiculousness. And
Like, what airport was he talking about? Was it not?
I don't know. There was no context. It was just like little fragments of information going through his mind that he had to share with me at that in whatever moment he was in.
He really has it in for Kevin McGahern and Tordoff. Like, how was I in the ice cream van with McGahern? How was I in it? I just don't understand it. I can't even watch adverts anymore. We're listening to a smug voice.
Oh, God. Well, I hope he's well, anyways, wherever he is.
He's doing all right.
I
would love to do a series just following him around, like just taking him to exotic locations and just having him like taste food and drink and taking part in, like local festivities.
Yeah, kind of like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. You could even do like something historical, how would stateside manage to live, in the 17th century, and then just kind of set him loose in a recreation of something. I was thinking teaming him up with Cormac from California, we mentioned earlier on.
Actually, now you say that, I think maybe were we talking about this before? Was it me and you? But the two of them, I remember. If I look over my Facebook Messenger records, I reckon I will find where I tried to get something going with those two, because that would be such a fucking dream team of TV gold, man.
It crossed my mind years ago. I can't remember if I mentioned it. Can we
produce this, Pete? Can we actually, the pair of us, just produce this as? I think every week they should be made to do like different kind of events that they're both handy at, and some events that they're both totally new to.
Fish out of water. Yeah.
Fish out of water kind of stuff. It'd be a bit like that time when Jack Osborne had that. Jack Osborne's Extreme Friends. Just bring in some other lad, like McGahern or yourself or me or one of the lads. Or just someone totally random, Brian Ormond or something, and just have like them engaging in like
just
whitewater rapids shit.
Yeah. You don't like. Maybe we could like just reduce the concept here. It doesn't have to be anything historical. It doesn't have to be anything. Big production.
Anything.
Just basic things. Operating a washing machine, doing the dishes.
We cook the best fry up.
Making banana bread. The two of them. Yeah. Just
making banana bread.
Yeah.
Or like, who can make the best omelette?
Yeah, just like that's enough. You don't need to,
lighting a fire in the wilderness, and who can make the best camp, and then just go camping with the pair of them. And oh man, can we please make this happen? I reckon if there's two guys who could make this happen, we're those guys.
I think
I don't think anyone else would touch it.
Yeah, we could produce it, but would we get any illegal team that would go near it? I don't know. We could just put it out online. Fuck it.
Yeah, online. That's the beauty of online. You can just make whatever you want, and that's the beauty of it. Like people. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to. But what about our sponsors?
Yeah, I mean, I've been very lucky, and so with a lot of the online stuff, I make a lot of stuff for other people. That's what I do now, mainly, as the bread and butter. And one of the people I work with a lot is Paddy Power, and they're very laxy-daisy. Maybe not laxy-daisy is the right word, but they're very chilled out in comparison to other people making that you might produce content for. And we do something. I think
that's why they're so popular now as a platform, is because they do let the creators away with it with a kind of a blank canvas, and just they've got so much cash that they're like, yeah, go ahead, we'll take a punt on it.
And it is refreshing. We do something called Fans and Isle every week, where it's kind of like making fun of football fans and the shit they post online. And I think over the entire history of Fans and Isle, I think we're doing it like 4 years now. We've only kind of had to like pull maybe 2 or 3 episodes because of legal stuff. Whereas, yourself, you try to get something on TV, or you work with another corporation, and fucking hell, you're layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of lawyers.
Bureaucracy.
Yeah. Which is great crack. Great crack.
Nothing better than getting a threatening legal email. You better fix this, or it's coming out of your end.
Yeah. So maybe it's all going back to how it started. marching. If we take one lesson away from this, it's like we'll go back to where we started. Maybe we're getting too advanced. We've gone full circle. We're back in the trenches now.
I think that's where the true grit and gold is basically being a small operation. It's like with Chris, what he does on the internet. Like, he's a one-man operation and he gets to call the shots on everything. And that's the nice thing about
it's a lot of fun, yeah.
I was thinking about doing like ramble pods myself. I quite like the idea of just bouncing off other guests as well.
Yeah,
and it's been really great having you back on the podcast because it's old friends you haven't seen for a while. It's nice to catch up as well.
Definitely, and it's nice to relive the glory days. But yeah, I think we've both got some ideas that we should probably follow up as a result of this.
What kind of name would you give Corminator and Stetsoyde?
The state side of the state of the nation. No, the culmination of the nation. No, the
stateside and friends.
Yeah. Legal disaster.
Legal disaster. Too hot to handle.
Yeah.
Cormac and Stateside. What's his name? First, Martin. Stateside should be first.
Yeah, that's like,
falling at the first hurdle. Here, why am I? It should be Corminator and Stateside. What about we call it Cormicide?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could even just get a show out of trying to plan the show,
And do it over Zoom.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe it will be, completely unentertaining to everyone else but us. But I think it would be worth it for that alone.
Yeah, fair dues. Well, look at we've come up to nearly 2 hours on this or so.
Fucking hell!
Time flies. It fucking does. Time flies when you're talking to Ganley. Anytime, like I'm on the Discord group there, and I'm saying I'm gonna have Peter Ganley on. It's like, is that Shady's cousin?
Good old Shady Ganley. Yeah. I've made it to Wikipedia, I think, for that, which I think is hilarious because I'm actually not Shady Ganley. The guy with the jumper over his head. Yeah. Whoever that talented actor is with the hood over his head. I don't know who it is, but it's not
man.
Yeah.
But, don't you have because you had a cousin as well who's a politician who was. Is that your cousin as well?
Yes, yeah.
Because he was out at the time. I suppose we were thinking of a name for someone. Ganley. It was just like it was you and him on the posters. Like, yeah, that's a local enough name. That works.
Yeah, that'll do. Tick the boxes. Well, I'm sure he'll be delighted to know that he was part of the thought process. Well, no, that's funny. It was.
This is a free Tibet shirt I'm wearing. Oh, fucking Batman up down the fucking mountains, man. Yeah, it's got mountains, all right.
But yeah, I'm not going to argue with that Wikipedia listing. But yeah, it was an honor to take part in those shows, and it was an honor to come on tonight, man. Get me on anytime. I love John Jones.
Absolutely. And if you, like when you were doing yourself and Chris were doing those videos a couple of years ago, I was like, oh man, I'd really love to do something with Peach again. Let's brainstorm and give people some fucking good stuff to laugh at.
Sure. Or we could get maybe even Chris involved in one of the podcasts.
Yeah, it'd be great. Oh, it'd be great to get Mary involved again.
All that crew, yeah. I'm in touch with them all, and they're all doing great, which is always jelly to see. Good people doing good things. So, yeah, look, we'll circle back on this.
Where's Chris from? Is he from?
He's from the Furbo crew in Galway.
Oh, he's from Galway. It's funny because he has the exact same voice as my friend Sean Finn. The two of them are indistinguishable, and they have that same kind of sense of humor as well.
It's very he's got a great radio voice. He does the I think it's air ads now. You might hear him randomly.
Oh, is that who it is?
Yeah.
I always thought that was Kevin McGahern who's doing the air ads.
No, I think is he doing Sky or I don't know.
Hey,
we need a broadcast
man.
off.
You're doing well.
Yeah.
McGahern versus Chris Green. You decide.
VO off.
The winner gets a Toyota Auris. Yeah. Where can people find you? On Instagram?
I actually am not on Instagram. That's one of the things I've avoided simply because the other things were taking over my life. But you can check me out on Twitter. You can check me out on Twitter. You can check me out all you want. CPeterG is the username on Twitter, or just search Peter Ganley. But the main thing is the YouTube channel, and I've actually got a load of stuff to put out there coming soon. So yeah, do check that out. That's Epic News on YouTube, or just search Peter Ganley and you'll find the channel there as well. But yeah, there's loads of stuff that I'm about to put out on that. So yeah, do give it an old subscribe. Much appreciated.
Epic News Daily or Epic News?
Epic News Daily.
My man, with Peter Ganley. Pete, thank you very, very much for coming on.
Thank you.
You were the shot to the gooch I needed.
Hey.
Steel toe cap. So I'm going to get back on the podcast again. Let's hatch some schemes for future content.
100%, man. Okay, look after yourself, bro.
You too, Pete. Take care, man. Thanks very much.